One November afternoon in California, Mark Zuckerberg, wearing his signature black t-shirt and jeans, walked down the bustling streets of Los Angeles, his mind occupied by the endless complexities of Facebook's future. The city moved around him like a blur of energy and noise, but his thoughts were elsewhere, focused on the challenges ahead. Unbeknownst to him, something was about to disrupt his day in a way he hadn't anticipated. As he turned a corner near a tall building, his eyes fell on a figure sitting hunched against the wall. The woman was wrapped in tattered clothes, her hands trembling as she held a cardboard sign that read, "Single mother in need. Please help." Something about her appearance stopped Mark in his tracks. Ignoring the crowd that flowed around him, he approached her, drawn by the quiet sadness in her eyes. "What's your name?" Mark asked softly. "Amy," she replied, her voice barely audible, cautious and hesitant. Mark lowered himself onto one knee, his presence commanding but gentle. "Amy Thompson, tell me, Amy, what brings you here? What happened to you?" Tears welled up in Amy's eyes as she began to speak. Her story tumbled out, losing her job, her home, and struggling to raise her children alone. She had become a victim of circumstances beyond her control, and the weight of it all had worn her down to nothing. Her voice quivered as she shared how she had exhausted every resource, trying to stay afloat, but always sinking deeper. Mark listened intently, his own heart aching. Here was someone who had given everything for her family, only to be left with nothing. His mind couldn't fathom how someone like her, a mother who had sacrificed so much, had ended up on the streets. Reaching into his pocket, Mark pulled out his phone and dialed a number. "Stay here, Amy," he instructed firmly. "We're going to fix this." On the other end of the line, his assistant, Sarah, answered without hesitation. "Sarah," Mark said quickly, "find the nearest hotel with availability and call a doctor. It's urgent." Within minutes, Mark returned to Amy, who watched him with cautious hope. "Help is on the way," he assured her. "But first, let's get you something warm to eat." Mark flagged down a nearby food vendor and bought Amy a bowl of hot soup and a sandwich. As she ate, her hands still trembling from the cold, Mark asked about her life, about her children, her struggles, and how she had ended up in this situation. Amy spoke of her deployments, the friends she had lost, and the injury that had ended her career. Transitioning to civilian life, she confessed, had been far harder than she had ever imagined. Soon, a sleek black SUV pulled up to the curb. Sarah stepped out and opened the door. Mark gently helped Amy to her feet. "This is for you," he said softly. "We're taking you somewhere safe." Amy hesitated, tears running down her face. "Why are you doing this, Mr. Zuckerberg?" Mark looked into her eyes, his expression steady. "Because someone should have done it a long time ago." The SUV whisked Amy away to a nearby luxury hotel. The staff, prepped by Sarah, greeted her like a VIP. She was escorted to a suite on the top floor, where a hot shower, fresh clothes, and a warm bed awaited her. A doctor arrived soon after to examine her, providing medication and advice on how to regain her health. Meanwhile, Sarah had contacted a local veterans support organization. Within the hour, Lisa, a cheerful and reassuring representative, arrived to meet Amy. "Hi, Amy," Lisa said warmly. "We're here to help. Housing, job training, and anything else you need. You're not alone anymore." Amy's tears continued to flow, but this time they carried a sense of hope. She looked at Mark, who stood quietly in the corner, his presence calming and steady. "I don't know how to thank you, Mr. Zuckerberg," Amy said softly. Mark stepped forward with a gentle smile. "You don't need to thank me, Amy. You've earned this." By morning, Amy had a new plan for her life. The support organization secured temporary housing, and Mark's foundation covered her rent for the first year. He even handed her a check to cover any immediate expenses. As Mark prepared to leave, Amy stopped him. "Mark," she said, her voice steady now, "you've changed my life in ways I can't describe." "Thank you," Mark smiled warmly. "Pay it forward, Amy," he replied. As he walked out of the hotel and back into the bustling city, Mark felt a quiet sense of satisfaction. In a matter of hours, one life had been transformed. For Amy Thompson, the future suddenly looked bright.